Welcome to Truss Levelz, the podcast. Big Truss Levelz. I am Cam Jordan, New Orleans Saints defensive end, multiple time All-Pro, NFL All-Decade, some accolades that don't matter. But, I also like to say I'm a six-time Pro Bowler. Like my dad, six-time Pro Bowler, Steve Jordan,
Legacy.
tight end for the Minnesota Vikings for 13 years. And I'm only going to say six-time Pro Bowler because I've got my brother with me, Mark Ingram II, a three-time Pro Bowler himself. But just guys who've been to the Pro Bowl, guys who've made a lot of things happen. And we talk about making a lot of things happen and introducing our interviewee, Coach Saban, a guy who's not only one championship over at LSU, but another 6 over at the University of Alabama. As some people would say, roll damn tide. That being said, I'm a Go Bears guy. I can't really deal with it. But that going forth, we're going to say thank you, Coach, for not only being here, for not only blessing us with your presence, because we know time is money. And after that extension, you got a lot of it. Thank you for giving us some of that.
Glad to be here, guys. Appreciate you doing it. Appreciate you guys. I always have respect for great competitors. Both you guys are great competitors, so I'm kind of glad to do it. Maybe I'm going to learn something here today.
Levels. Big Truss Levels. You feel me?
Delivered by Pizza Hut. Look, I've had to listen to no less than 10 years of Mark not only winning in 8 years of Mark winning, beating the hell out of LSU down in the New Orleans Saints locker room, collecting all types of sweaters, et cetera, giving out sweaters, making guys wear sweaters. That went to LSU and had too much pride on the line. But just hearing about just the lineage of first rounders, the lineage of second rounders that you guys have really pushed out into the league, and not just had first and second rounders, third rounders, whatever the guys are drafted, but quality football players in the NFL. And so it starts at college level. So, it's big kudos to you, Coach, for everything that you've either imbued to these kids or what they've taken out. Because, you think about the wide receivers that you've put out, the technicians. Guys are just high-level caliber players already coming out of college, and you don't see that often. There's no get ready. You're born ready in Bama.
Hey, man, it's everything you. It's everything you, man. It's everything you. Let them know, Coach.
Everything you.
We got it all.
I appreciate you saying that, Cam. That's a credit, I think, to all the coaches that we have here, sort of the organization that we have. We have a lot of really good people here who help our players be the best version of themselves, have the best chance to be successful, more successful in life because they were involved in the program, and, do a good job of helping them develop a career off the field as well as on the field as football players. So I appreciate you saying that, and hopefully we're always trying to get better. We're always trying to find a better way. So, we change things all the time, and guys have to buy in, and you have to have a culture in your organization where people want to have success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they change things all the time, because I go back, it's way different than what it was when I was there. I guess we were the guinea pigs, we were the lab rats because we were doing some crazy stuff back there in the weight room. You know what I mean? Now these guys, it's like they got the science, they got everything, man. But just the change and evolving, that's what Coach does the best. That's why he's been able to win championships, be in the championships, fight for these titles year in and year out. And I respect it. I love it. And as a fellow Bama alum, I'm going hard for mine. I'm going hard for mine. Hey, and I also want to tell you, Coach, congratulations on the extension. I need to go ahead and just give you the lifetime extension for you. Just leave when you want. You know what I mean? Just keep paying the man whatever the highest paid man is. Just give him a little bit more. And congratulations on that extension. Congratulations on the Trailblazer Award. I don't know what other award they didn't gave you, but you just collecting. I know you got 6-7 rings behind you. You know what I mean? So I just want to tell you congratulations, Coach. I'm proud of you. I love you. Hold it down.
Look, I'll say while I'm here, I'm going to ask the real question. Is there clearly there's a difference from college to NFL, but what is it that you felt was a transition from? Of course, you were at Miami for a couple of years. We just got done talking to Drew, where he thought he was going to end up in Miami and ended up, of course, with the Saints for a decade. But is there a transition in the mindset of coaching, being a head coach from the pros to college or college to the pros?
I don't think the way you coach players is really any different, because I think coaching is teaching is ability to inspire learning. My experience is college guys want to get to the NFL, but NFL guys want to extend their career. They want to play as long as they can play, make as much money as they can make, and be the best players that they can be. So if you're a coach that helps them do that, I always felt like, there was a lot of positive self-gratification in that. I think the biggest difference is, how do you bring players to the team? When I coached in the NFL in 88, 89, 91 through 94 with Belichick in Cleveland, 94 was the first year we had free agency. So free agency is great for the players, but it also changed the dynamics dramatically of how you could bring players to your team because of the salary cap and, things like that. So I thought that was the biggest difference. I thought it was the biggest challenge. When I went to Miami, we were $17 million over the cap. We had the oldest team. We were 4-12. So we made the team better. And I think if we wouldn't have failed Drew Brees on the physical because he was coming off a shoulder surgery, that things would have really taken off in Miami, because that was what we needed, was a quarterback. But because that happened, that's probably why I ended up at Alabama. And it's
Roll Tide, baby.
It's been a really good 14 years, no doubt, and we enjoy it. We feel like it's home now. But really, coaching the players was really, really no different, and I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed it in college, but I enjoyed it in the NFL as well.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So, did you find the commitment level from players in college? You buy in because oh, I'm going to the University of Alabama for for the accelerated program at Bama. You guys got 3 years, but for most colleges, it's 4 to 5 years. Whereas you came into the Dolphins and you had guys who are 1 years. Again, you mentioned the cap, but there's always cap casualties. There's now there's money motivations. When you go to college, it's pure. Hey, I'm here to not only be the best football player I can be. I'd say be the best academic, student athlete I could be, but I'm not going to take this Bama shot. I'm going to be better than this.
Hey, we have an 88% graduation rate.
Let that man know, coach. Let that man know, coach. Tell him.
Yeah. You got at graduation, you just got to do the alphabets and probably count to 12.
Cam, are you forgetting that I coach at LSU too?
No doubt. That's what I'm saying. That's why I know.
So, to answer your question about the commitment level, I think it depends on the individual. There's very committed people in college to be the best person they can be, the best student, very committed to sort of developing a career, very committed to developing a career as a football player. And then there's guys that aren't so committed, that you have to push to do everything that they need to do to be successful, because they're not self-starters and they don't have a sense of purpose of what they want to accomplish and what they do, or maybe they do and don't realize what they have to do it. In the NFL, it was the same way. There were guys that were great players that wanted to be greater players, that worked hard, like Jason Taylor, Zach Thomas. Those guys are great leaders on your team. They worked hard. They did everything they need that you could expect of any player at any level. To try to help their team be better and help themselves be better. So I think it still goes back to the individual and, what makes them tick. And that's what makes some people more successful than others. It's not just all about ability all the time.
Right.
Yeah, so you mentioned that complacency thing for sure. Like you talk about complacency. You can't get complacent. Whether you're good or going to be good or going to be great, there's always another level. You can't plateau. Yeah. You got to be on that level.
It's all about what have you done for me lately? You know what I mean? You got to keep improving.
But I think in sports and probably in life and in business endeavor as well, is you're only as good as your last play. That's a great philosophy to have. And, it's always about not what you did in the past, but what you can do in the future that's really going to create value for you. And that's what you got to stay focused on. And, it's not really, I think when we all make a mistake is everybody thinks just because guys have ability that they have the right mindset to be the best that they can be. And really the human condition is to survive. We all want to be comfortable. We all want to survive. We all want to do a day's work and sit in our lazy boy and, drink a beer and eat Tostitos because we feel like we deserve it because we worked hard that day. But to win a championship, to be the best that you can be, to work hard, to get to the next level, to not be satisfied with the success that you've had, because success is not a continuum. It's momentary. So if you want to continue to have it, you got to continue to work. But that's special. I mean, people like that are really, really special. So, and I think we make a mistake sometimes as coaches, thinking just because guys have ability, they automatically have this sort of mindset that they want to be the best that they can be. And that's not always true.
Right. No, you're right. Hey, I remember you told me, Coach, you kind of helped me harness my emotions into a positive way. You know what I mean? I always say you learn me. I used to be crying before the games, like turned up, so emotional. Coach, like, hey man, you can't be doing this stuff, man. Like, you gotta learn to channel this stuff like in a positive direction. And he helped me do that. He always, you remember you told me to be where my feet are. Don't be anxious. You know what I mean? Be where my feet are, and all that stuff, man. That stuff that you taught me, it kind of I've took with me. You know, going into my 11th season in the league.
Wait, Mark, what is be where your feet are?
Be where your feet are. It's like if you worry about the future, you get like, you know,
one step at a time.
Kind of anxious. Yeah, you get kind of anxious. You know, if you worry about the past, you get complacent, or you know what I mean? It's like you be where your feet are, you capitalize on this moment. Like he said, success isn't something that's continuous. It's momentary. You know what I mean? So you got to be where your feet are. You got to live in the moment and, you know, try to improve yourself every single day. Is that right, Coach? Is that what you meant by that when you're telling me that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, you know, guys that get high anxiety, which is, I think, when you were a young player, you know, you wanted to be good so bad and you wanted to do well so bad that you got so tied up in sort of the outcome, thinking, you know, I got to go score 3 touchdowns. I need to gain 100 yards. So you're thinking of all these outcomes and you're putting all this pressure on yourself. So you create all this anxiety. Doesn't really help your performance. Exactly the opposite. Probably hurts your performance. I think, you know, what I always try to get was guys to focus on what do you need to do to get the outcome that you want to have. Yes. Stay focused on that. And to answer Cam's question, you know, be where your feet are is just look down. Where are you? This moment, this time, I can control what I do. I can control how I think. And I'm going to try to do that the best I can. I'm not going to worry about what happened in the past. I'm not going to worry about where I'm going to get drafted or how many yards I'm going to gain in this game or even whether we're going to win or lose. Just worry about the next play. And if you can dominate the competition, you know, one play at a time, you probably end up being successful at the end of the day. So that sort of simple-minded approach to the better way to compete, in my opinion, is not to think about the outcome, but to think about what you need to do, you know, play in and play out to get the outcome that you want.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, there you go, Cam.
That's a gem for you, right?
That man's legendary, right?
Somebody recorded that, right? I need that.
Listen, I took that with me, bro. He told me that when I was like 19 years old. I still live by that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, no, Coach. Hey, we know all the stuff you done did, all the great coaching. I want to talk about the beginning. West Virginia's finest. How you became this elite athlete coming through West Virginia, man. Like, I need to talk about the beginning. Tell me about that, Coach. Before you even knew you was going to be a coach, you was an all-state quarterback, 50-1, state champion quarterback out of Class A, all-state baseball, all-state basketball. I know you think you got the jump, or I've seen you a little bit. You know what I mean? So I want to know about the young Saban out there in West Virginia. West Virginia's finest.
The rule is supposed to go if you can't teach. You can't be a head coach and then drop, you know, all the accolades in the world. You know, Mr. All-Pro himself. I was all-state in everything.
Yes, I did this. Hey, he'll get out there. He'll show the shuffle jam technique to the DBs. You know what I mean? He'll show it to them.
Well, let me just clear this up for you, Cam. I did play all sports and loved all sports, but where I grew up in West Virginia, there was nothing else to do. I mean, so that's all we did was we played at the Ball Diamond from the time we got up in the morning until we went home at night. But just to be clear on this, you know, we still play noontime basketball. And Mark was never good enough to be on my team.
Oh my goodness. I was a hooper, coach.
Not in basketball. Not in basketball.
And what, baseball?
I don't know about baseball, but
what team you talking about?
my noontime basketball team is like I pick the elite players to be on my team. And then I pick the guy that guards me on the other team.
Yeah. He sets it up.
And then I call all the fouls. So we're pretty successful.
He picks who guards him, and he's the referee.
That's what you get for experience.
Yeah,
Sir.
absolutely.
I got a lot of it. Lots of years.
Yeah. So tell us about that, Coach. Like, what that was like, balling in West Virginia like that in high school. What was that about, Coach?
Well, I had really good high school coaches. My dad was a coach. He started Pop Warner football when I was like 10 years old. And we played for him. We had success. He bought a school bus and went up in all these little coal mining towns and got all these guys to play on his team. And I don't think we won a game the first year, but then we won like 30-some games in a row. And all these guys went on to play high school. So when we went to high school, we just carried on and won most all of our games and won a state championship. So then I had an opportunity to go to college. I was going to go to the Naval Academy and sort of got scared out at the last minute. And
you got scared out? What scares you about the Naval?
Well,
the Navy having to enlist?
No, it was the Vietnam War was like going on, and everybody like had to go right to Vietnam when you got out of school. And I was wondering, is that really what I want to do? Right. But anyway, went to Kent. Don James was my coach there. So I never really had any intentions of being a coach. But, Coach James called me in one day, and after our senior year, we just lost to Freddie Solomon, and I think Matuzak played on the University of Tampa team. We lost in the Tangerine Bowl, which is now the Capital One Bowl. And he called me in right after that, and he said, I want you to come back and be a GA. And I said, Coach, I'm sick of school. I don't want to go to school, and I don't want to be a coach. So why would I be a GA? And Miss Terry had another year of school, and we were married. So he said, well, you can't go anywhere to take a job. You might as well stay here. So I did, and I've been doing it ever since and really liked it. So, that's how I ended up being a coach. But I had a lot of good mentors along the way. My high school coach probably had as much influence as anybody other than my parents on, sort of what it takes to be successful. Coach James was a great mentor in getting me started as a coach, and was very well organized and sort of set the tone for, how we do things even now. So like we use the same evaluation form that we used at Kent State when I first started coaching, because it was kind of an NFL type. What's the guy's character? Here's a size and speed chart. Here's the critical factors to play his position. So that's how we kind of still evaluate players today. So I've been very fortunate to have a lot of good mentors along the way, and whether it was George Perlis at Michigan State, Bill Belichick was a great mentor. Probably my 4 years in Cleveland were probably as difficult a years as I had in coaching in terms of the work ethic and the things that we did, but it was also the biggest learning curve that I ever had in terms of what prepared me to be a head coach.
Sure. Hey, now I want to talk about Michigan State. So you came in my house, you recruited me. You told me that you used to have to run my dad down to get to class. You was calling my mom. I still don't remember the exact story. I need you to share with the people this story, man. How the whole thing even transpired. I think my coach sent you some tape down there to Bama. You came to my house, told me you used to chase my dad around. He wasn't acting right. Tell us the story, Coach.
Well, here was the problem. All right. So Mark's dad and Andre Rison were both from
Flintstones.
And they were running buddies. And in those days, this was in the early 80s, you could take as many credits of summer school to get eligible as, you didn't have this, had to take 18 in the regular year and only could take 6 of summer school to get eligible. So these guys would end up needing, 12, 15 credits of summer school to get eligible. And I was in charge of making sure that they went to class and did what they were supposed to do. I could never find Mark. I could never find Andre because they were always together running around. So the only way that I could find them was I knew Big Mark's girlfriend. And I would call her and say, hey, where's Mark? And she would tell me, and I'd go run him down, get him to go to class, get him to do what he wanted to do. But the problem was when I went in Mark's house, to recruit him, I didn't know if Mark's mom It was the same lady that I used to call Michigan State the Bama. So I was kind of sitting there on pins and needles.
Are you my ace or are you,
No.
Oh,
no. Then my mom was like, "That was me. You used to call me."
I'd be like, I've been knowing you, family.
Yeah, family. Give me a hug. Thank you.
So that was the story, but I was a little nervous about that. I didn't know how to sort of navigate that. And Mark's mom finally just kind of broke out laughing and said, "Hey, that was me."
That's super funny, man. Hey, I'll never forget that one.
Dang. Then of course you go down to Bama, and next thing you know, you're throwing up.
Yeah. I went to Alabama. I'm like, I'm not going to Alabama. I'm like, I'm from Michigan. Like, he was like, man, just take a visit, see if you like it. I went down, took a visit, fell in love with it. The players, Coach Saban, the culture. It wasn't the Bama that it is now. That like they were coming off of like a down year. Kind of had like years before that where they had some like probation. We were coach's first recruiting class. I'll never forget though. I'm gonna tell y'all a story. He sat in my living room. He was like, man, if you come to Alabama, he was like, your first year, he was like, we'll probably have a pretty good team. He was like, but I think your second year we'll win the national championship. And let me tell you, he was verbatim. I wish he would have predicted the third year because the first two was verbatim as he said it. Because we went 12-0 my freshman year. We were going to the SEC championship 1-2 versus Florida. We lost to Florida. So they go to the national championship and win it. So we had a really good team. We lost and then we had kind of like a letdown. We were in the Sugar Bowl, lost that game 12-2. But that all propelled us for the next year to get back to that same point. We went 12-0 again, went back to the same point. It was number 1 versus number 2, Alabama versus Florida. We smacked them, beat the brakes off of them. Then we went to Texas, got the championship. But Coach literally sat in my living room in Flint, Michigan, told my mom, my grandpa, and me that verbatim, what I just told you, and it happened. And I'm like,
that was your fault. Look, in fact, he might have been doing you a favor. He's like, and after the third year, you're gonna get out of there. Don't even worry about it, big fella.
He ain't telling me nothing about the third year. He just said the first 2 years. How'd you even know that, Coach? Like
that was recruiting, man. I didn't know for sure. I was just trying to get you to Alabama.
Hey,
that's about as straight up honesty you're gonna get right there. But
no, that's dope.
I really thought we could do something special here, and I thought we were having that kind of recruiting class. That recruiting class that Mark was in with Julio Jones, Mark Barron. I mean, there were
Marcel Darius,
I'll say big sell. Woo.
Yeah, but and I'll tell you, people always ask me of the 6 national championships that you won here, which teams which one was the most special? And this last year's team was special because of all the adversity with COVID and not having spring ball and guys being gone and have to do Zooms with them. And you guys all went through that in the NFL as well. So you understand it was difficult, and they stayed focused and were able to adapt and adjust and all that. But that first national championship, because all those guys came here, all the guys that Mark said, they came here when we weren't any good. I mean, we went 6-6 by the skin of our teeth. The first year I was here, we weren't very good. And, all these guys, sort of bought into the concept of what we could do and the hard work that we would have to do to be able to turn the program around. And they all came when we weren't any good. The players come here now because Alabama does a lot for them. They do a lot for Alabama, but we've had a lot of success, and I think that success, helps all of our players have more success. So, so that first championship that we won was pretty special too, because that group of guys came here,
fully bought in,
right,
and accomplished it and did it, and that was pretty special.
Yeah, man. Hey, I try to tell people, look, the most dangerous team is a team with hope. And it looked like you inspired them to do more than that. And now it's just like, shoot, they hope that they don't disappoint now, because now they are, Bama. The culture that you created, I mean, has been nothing short of special. And I want to know, just because I'm a D lineman, who was your favorite D lineman out of this 14-year stint at Bama? I came into the league in 2011. I've been around Tuscaloosa. I got to ride the coattails of Marcel Darius back when we were rookies that first off season. and realized, Bama is such a football town. But so of course I've got my affinity for D lineman. But who would be your best NFL ready D lineman? I mean, they all seem sort of ready, but
Right.
from John Allen to Big Payne to, I mean, you've had plenty of them.
Well, I think you named the three guys that were probably the most dominant players when they were here. Marcel was very dominant. Probably the best maybe all around, because he was big, he was strong at the point. But, when we recruited Marcel, we had to have a long conversation about whether we were going to recruit him or not, because he only weighed like maybe 250, 255 in high school.
Who? Marcel Darius?
Marcel Darius. He came to camp and he could really rush and he can move. And this guy could play end if, he doesn't get much bigger. He'll be okay. He can pass rush. And then the guy just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and he became this dominant player. But he still had the quickness and could pass rush, and a very powerful guy.
Nose tackle had 10 sacks over at Buffalo. I mean, he was going crazy.
Man, yeah. The nose.
And then, I thought Jonathan Allen was, really a good player, but that's another guy who came in here. He was maybe 230 in high school. By the time he got here, he was maybe 260, was an end, moved inside, and was, a dominant player, a great leader, really good person. Big Payne was, he was really a good player too, but more of an inside nose type, great run player, type of guy. So we've had a lot of good ones, but those three guys probably, might be the best three.
I'll say I'm excited about. Look, I'm not gonna front. I really wanted the kid this past year. I was hoping. I had my little wish list and
what's his name?
Barmore?
Anyway,
which one?
Barmore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a Dogmore. Yeah. Big dog. Yeah.
Dogmore.
He's a really good pass rusher. Made a lot of plays, kind of a one gap player in a way, but for a guy his size, has unbelievable initial quickness, and he uses it well and makes a lot of plays that way.
Now, I'm telling you, look, hey Mark, look, you ain't never seen me just like, dang, I was sitting there like if I have any pull, it's him. I got zero pull, so it's not him.
No, you don't have no pull. They do what they want up there when it's draft time,
Absolutely.
No, but yeah, Coach, I know we got about two more questions for you, then we'll get you out of here. We appreciate your time, Coach. You the man for sure. We want to talk about this year, man. What you guys looking forward to with the team this year? Who should I be looking out for that I don't know? Yeah, I know you guys are getting ready to go do dominating things. So, but give us a little preview this season coming off of, a national championship year.
Well, I think every year in college is really challenging because you probably lose 25% of your team, whether it's graduation, guys going out early for the draft or whatever. And we lost a lot of good offensive players. Smitty, Waddle were both, outstanding wide receivers. Mac had a great year at quarterback. Najee was, really good at tailback. Offensive line was probably as good as we've ever had as a group. So
they were doing it.
Got drafted. So we really kind of have lost 8 starters on offense. So we got a lot of holes to fill. We got a lot of good young players, but not a lot of experience. So that'll be sort of a work in progress as to how that group develops. Now in defense, if Patrick didn't go out and Barmore didn't go out early, we'd have had 10 starters back. So now we have 8 starters back. So we have a little more experience. We got better last year. We were really young on defense last year and not very good in the beginning, got a little better at the end. It'll be interesting to see. We'll have a different kind of team, I think, a little bit. In terms of last year, we were just so explosive. We made so many big plays. I don't know that it will have that kind of offensive team. Bryce Young being a new quarterback, talented guy that, you always know for sure how a guy's going to play until he goes out there and does it. So, we'll kind of see how that goes. So it's a challenging year. But the way I look at it is every year in college is like you took a new job. Right, because you lose so many guys, you got so many new guys in new positions, new roles. The leaders on last year's team are gone. You need new leadership. So you're trying to develop all these things. Sometimes it comes together really well. Sometimes it's a little more difficult. But I think we have a lot of good players. We just got a lot of young players, and they really don't have a lot of experience.
Hey, well, I know I trust in Coach Saban. You know what I mean? So I ain't worried about it.
Look, going into the season, so we talk about the season. Before a game, for players, we listen to music. We have like a certain meal we have to eat before the night before, or the morning of. Do you go through the same thing? Are you one of those coaches that are it seems like you're so even killed. You sort of have a regimen and you stick to it, at least in my mind. But do you have something that you either calm down or amp up for the game? Is that like a meal? Is that the music that you said? Is that maybe go into a quiet room, meditate? At this point, what puts you at that great level of coaching that you've been at for so long?
Well, I think different from a coaching perspective as a player's perspective. You have a lot of quiet time as a player before you go out and play. As a coach, I'm talking to recruits, the officials come in, you got all these things happening like right up until, so I only have a little bit of time where I really have a chance to think. And usually I'm trying to create a mindset for the players for every game. All right. So I talk to the team on Monday. I talk to the team on Friday. So I'm my last thing that I always think about is, what am I going to say to try to tie the whole, week message into right before the game? I'm not big on, trying to give one of these rah-rah speeches or whatever. I just try to reinforce the things that we need to do that we talked about all week, whether it's mindset or things we need to do in a game to have a chance to be successful. And I try to reiterate that to the players. And, but I don't have time to listen to music. I don't have time to, it's just like you're going from one thing to another. And it's a little bit different, I think, when you're a coach than when you're a player. But I do respect that everybody gets different to play a little different way. And if I do have time to think about anything, I'm always thinking about situations that are going to happen in the game and how are you going to manage those from an administrative, you're going to go for it on fourth down in certain situations. If 2-minute comes up, when you're going to call timeouts, and what kind of style do you need to play to be able to win this game? That's kind of, and I like when we played Georgia in the national championship, and we put Tua in the game. I kind of knew going into that game we were going to have to throw the ball against them to have a chance to win.
Yes, sir.
Hey, wait, was that the substitution game? That was the one, right?
Yes, that was a substitution game. And
man.
So, and Jalen struggled a little bit in the first half, even though he was the team leader and
hadn't lost a game that season. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
he was 26-2 as a starter. But I felt like we'd have no chance if we couldn't throw the ball. And
I love Jalen. I love Tua. I love Bama. But you made the right call that day, Coach.
Well, but that decision was like, Cam's asking, what do you think about before the game? Well, I'm thinking we're going to have to throw the ball to be able to win this game, and we've not thrown it very well in the first half. And so we had to make a change, and it was really hard to do because I had a tremendous amount of respect for, Jalen. But then when we went back and played the SEC championship game, Jalen goes in the game and when Tua gets hurt. So
and strikes it out.
Full circle. It comes full circle. It comes
full
circle. That's special.
So, and I think it's a tribute to those two guys to support each other, manage the situation that he did, not cut and run when things didn't go their way, set a great example. And I think that's good for college football, what those two guys did.
Hey, man, and that's Roll Tide brotherhood right there. So all you recruits who you want to be great, you want to have, brotherhood and ain't no hate. We all just elevate and we go be great. Come to Bama.
Loyalty. Yeah.
Built by Bama. That's how we do it, man.
Built by Bama.
Hey, Coach.
Man.
Hey, Coach. How that golf game? How your swing doing today, Coach? I know you be playing with Justin Thomas, man. I know he getting ready for the U.S. Open. He coming on the podcast too soon. So how the swing looking, Coach?
Yeah, I haven't played as well this year for whatever reasons. But
because we didn't have our tournament, man. The tournament keeps me motivated to keep my game sharp. So you know what I mean?
And you know what? I didn't play this year because you didn't play. I always look forward to that.
You didn't tell me to, if you need me, I'm ready. I just shot 70.
They didn't do the player thing this year. They just did coaches from the SEC against the ACC and all that. And it was a 3-day event. and I enjoy that. I've always enjoyed that event. It's first class. You know, they do a great job over there. But I love playing with you and seeing the other players play with their coach. But so I didn't do it this year. But my game it needs help. You know. I mean,
Hey, so Cam, so we do this like Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl Challenge thing where it's like the ACC versus SEC. So the coach will pair up with like a celebrity player. I'm not a celebrity, but I'm a player. So coach asked me because I have some golf history. So, you know, we get our strokes, we be applying pressure. And 1 year we was about to win, man. So we have to go to this playoff and we have to play the 18th hole like 3 times in a row. And I had to do a Coach Saban on Coach Saban. You know, I had to be, you know what I mean? Everything he taught me, I had to, you know, kind of forward it to him. So we on like the 3rd time playing the hole on 18. Coach like, I don't know, man. If we don't win this hole, I might have to go. You know, I'm like, the Jets waiting on you, Coach. The Jets waiting on you. It ain't gonna lead till you need to leave. You know, but he was talking about, I'm like, you told me that we have to finish. You know what I mean? You told me that we can't be complacent, that we have to put our foot on their neck and finish the game. Like, we got to finish. You know what I mean? all says we end up losing the hole because, you know, our mindset wasn't right. Our motivation wasn't right. Yeah. We got complacent. We was worried about outside factors. We weren't being where our feet were. No, so we ended up losing the playoff. Yeah, we ended up losing the playoff.
Yeah, he is so right about that. We're getting this playoff. And we kept doing it, and the plane's waiting on me because I got to go speak someplace or something at night. So we were driving back to play the last hole again for the 3rd or 4th time. And I look at Mark and I put my hand on his knee and I say, you know, Mark, I'm really proud of you. We did really well today. So no matter what happens, because I was getting ready to book out of here. Last hole. I'm gonna leave, you know. And I mean, he jumped my tail like you can't believe, man. He said, that ain't what you taught me. You taught me we got to put our foot on the
So you got that coach advice when you wasn't ready for what?
Man, we was in a battle, man. We was in a battle. You know, it's one of them heavyweight title matches, man. We with these dudes, they hitting it straight, they hitting it tight, you know what I mean? We scrambling, we up and down, saving ourselves. I'm like, we got to win this. You know, this is for whatever, 500,000, 250,000 goes to the Knicks Kid Foundation, goes to like scholarships for Alabama. Right. Like, we got to finish. Man, we ended up taking 2nd place though, but we coming back for our redemption. I know that.
Eventually, next year.
Yeah.
Because this year, both of y'all got higher dreams. Of course, the Bama way is a championship. You know, I'm trying to imbue that on my Cal guys. When I go back, I'm going to talk to them. I'm like, look, I talked to one of the greatest coaches of our modern day, collegiate era, period. It might be just period. As I was saying, as many national championships that you've been to and now won. Just bringing some sort of standard to them because we fell off. I'm not sure how we fell off, but we fell off. We got to get back.
Yeah, Cal needs a lot of help. You guys are way.
Look. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to talk about it. But we are here to celebrate Coach for the way that you bring your mindset, the way you bring your mentals, and corral your players to match that intensity. So big kudos to everything that you've done for your program, and so hopefully that magic wraps up with my guys too. Go Bears!
Yeah. I appreciate you saying that, Cam, and I
absolutely
enjoyed being on with you guys. You're fun guys. I have a lot of respect for you. You're great people. You set a good example for a lot of young people, and I think there's a lot of young people that needs that kind of leadership, role model, somebody that they can emulate. So I'm really proud of both of you guys for what you've accomplished and what you've done, and always look forward to watching you in the future. So God bless you. Roll Tide. I know you don't want to hear that.
Oh, here he goes. Look, as much as I heard it, look, roll damn Tide. I'm the one that poisoned the trees.
Man, but so we're concluding our episode of this Truss Levelz, and we had
Truss Levelz.
Yes, the biggest of the Truss of the levels, and we have the man, the myth, the legend, the Coach Nick Saban, West Virginia's finest, 7-time national championship winner, 6 with the Alabama Crimson Roll Tide. Best coach that's walked this earth. The best coach that has walked this earth. My guy, my fam, been great to me. You know what I mean? We appreciate you coming in on this podcast. We appreciate the time. We know your time is money. My man got that extension. Money gonna make you holler. You know what I mean? I just need to borrow $1, coach, still. You know what I mean? So it's all love, and we appreciate you. And Roll Tide, go get that ship again. Let's do it again.
All right, guys. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much. All right.
Coach, I know I hold you longer than you were supposed to, but I appreciate it. I'll take you for steak when the next time I'm there.
I didn't mind. You two are so full of shit. It was fun.